Right guys, welcome. Just let's get a few tools out. Now, take my pick of tape measures. I'm building up a bit of a collection of tape measures. This is to do a tool video, like, you know, me Tuesday tool talk. So I've been trialing some tape measures. You've probably seen me using all different ones. So let's get out to the workshop. So everything's nice and tidy. I've already put my saws out. Everything's nice and neat. So I'm using the cheapest tape measure today out of the old lot. Give that one a try. So I want to use some of this scrap wood up that's been sort of silently accumulating again. So I'm going to use some of that. So let's see what I can use. So I'm just picking up some bits of plywood, some bits of pine, seeing what'll work, what won't work for it. So what I'm doing on this video, what I thought I'd do is I've been looking at sort of box joints, that kind of stuff, and I'm making, it's not a prototype. I've seen this type of box joint being made before, but things are just not playing right on my mind. So I just want to have a go at the box joint. This is sort of like a Mark 1 version that I'm doing, and just see if I can get it, the first part of it, get the jig right, and then what I can do is I can own it in over the next couple of weeks or so and get it sort of spot on, and then let you know the ins and outs of it. But this is the actual making of the box joint, prototype / Mark 1. I wouldn't say it's a prototype because it has been made before, but it's like anything. You see things on the YouTube and they look dead simple, but they're not. And I just know for a fact it's not as simple as it sort of looks. So I'm just measuring out all my dimensions, making sure I've got the right dimensions wrote down of the thicknesses of the wood and the ply, that kind of stuff. As you know, ply, it might come in as 12mm ply, but it might actually be 11mm. So just make sure you check it. So I'm just going through this plywood here, and I'm just scoring the top of it first before I go through. I mean, it's not the best quality ply, this, honestly. And you'll see near the end of the video when I'm making one of the boxes, I use some ply as well as pine. That, it sort of crumbles a little bit, but this is just for the purposes of this video and actually making the jig itself. So round power tools, make sure you're nice and safe, fingers away from the blades. I have got some filters for my camera now. I need to put a filter on it, just sort of lighten that up a bit, because I've got the sunlight coming through there. It's sort of like a bit dark where my camera is. And to be honest, I don't know what I'm doing with the camera. I found it just as easy working with my iPhone, just taking videos with that. But everybody says get a camera, so I have done. Quality's better, but I'm all for wanting to get it done quick. So I'm putting these down here to 4cm by 4cm blocks. And that was just using some scrap 4x2. And these are 6cm strips. And this is 12mm ply I'm using. So that's the sort of first sort of scenario I've made, and it's not quite right. It needs to sit down. That middle piece is a key, which is how wide I want me box joints. So now I'm just come to the realisation I haven't got the right route a bit, so I'm having to improvise here. So I'm having to put another piece of 12mm ply on top of that. I'm going to get some more outer bits, but I thought for the sake of the video, and this is the sort of reality of when we're doing stuff in the workshop, improvising and getting around problems, that kind of thing. No fancy editing. I'm not sort of like going to cut that out and say I've done this, I've done that. No, this is what we all do. We've got to improvise. So again, I don't know why I'm doing that so slow, because this plywood it's garbage really. So they're the two I'm just putting together. So just gluing it, put a bit of CA glue to act as sort of a clamp, but I will screw that as well. You can see I'm moulding stuff a bit funny again. My hands are not that good at the minute. So just make sure that is really nice and square there. Just take your time, making sure it's perfectly all square and everything's together properly. Bit of activator to get it to go off. So now I'm just measuring out for the two pieces that sort of act as sort of clamps. So I'm just getting the central mark there. Then with one of the pieces I'm going to use as the key, I'm marking the strip, and that'll be the thickness of the cut. Now these box joint jigs, I've seen loads being made, and I don't want to go out and I don't want to start spending loads of money on stuff that I don't need when I can make stuff like this and show you guys. So this is like the first one I've made of these. I'm having to improvise. I'm having to think on my feet, if that makes sense. So this is a crucial part. Make sure here everything is bang on square. Just take your time. Don't rush this bit. Nice and easy. I'm just going back to double check. Just using pilot hole and screwing it down. Just use whatever screws you've got, as long as it don't go through your table, that is. This is sort of part of the jig that has to be spot on. Just get your screws in there, and again, just make sure everything's nice and square. Now that centerpiece, just pop in the centerpiece, which is going to act for your key, and butt up the other piece to the other end and screw it down, and that should be bang on perfect. And just take your time, go steady with it. Get them screws in and go for a coffee and just let the glue set for a bit. Just pull that out and just clean everything off. I don't know about you, but I just can't work in a mess. Mark them. One's going to be your top and one's going to be your bottom. Make sure there's no glue residue underneath there. So this is, I'm just marking out for the length of the key that's going to sit underneath. Depending on how sort of deep you make your jig, your key's going to be different. And I think you can make these all different sizes, whatever size widths you want and things like that. So I've made two. One rests against the other there, flush up against it. See what I'm doing there. I'm not a good teacher, sorry, but I'm trying to explain best as I can. So that fits as it should. I did go back to the mitre saw a few times just to get it really, really bang on. So glue that down there, one of them keys, so it's offset from that sort of opening. Make sure you get every bit of glue off. I like sand over just to tidy it up a little bit. Just take a bit of them corners off. Nothing special, you don't have to do this. And it was just, I was just doing this with the plywood because it was just crumbling. I did cut some in, you'll see in the end, one of the boxes I did with the pine, the pine was all cupped. I lost footage of that, something to do with storage and all that kind of stuff, but you'll see me, I would do it with the plywood. So there's sort of like two boxes. So that groove there, this is a bit of the footage I lost. And it's, you go through and you'll go through that 4 centimetre by 4 centimetre piece, which is a bit tough with a router, but just take it nice and easy, dropping the router bit and just going through on multiple passes. So there's your key. That sits on top of the wood there. Push it right up and then press it that way so the key then engages with the wood you've got clamped into your vise or any work holding you've got, and you can see there how it's all clamped in. You can see where I made a bit of a mess. Just scrap wood, and that's what you should be seeing. Now, I needed a smaller router bit than this, to be perfectly honest, so, this is an improvisation. And just go through nice and steadily with your router. And what you'll find is you'll find out your limitations of your router bit and router, your speed control, all that kind of stuff. And that's what I was learning here. Because this is the first time I've made one of these. This is the first time I've done it. So you might hear me router squealing a little bit. But as I was going on, I was getting it, if that makes sense. And that's what'll happen to you when you try it. So now this is the second bit. And all you do is just put that key then in the slot. So this is sort of the first two bits of wood. I've got them sort of sandwiched together. And I'm just going through nice and slowly with the router. But this does speed up it. I do speed it up and get it right. It's just a matter of learning how much to drop your router bit and that kind of stuff. So I'm just checking there. You can see where it's falling to bits, that stuff. So another good thing is what I learned there was get a sacrificial strip behind it. So wherever that router's coming out, make sure you've got a piece of wood behind it because it will help. I'm glad I'm doing this as a prototype on scrap wood, because if this was sort of like a piece of hardwood or something, I'd be crying now because of tear out and stuff like that. Just clamp it in, make sure everything's nice and tight, and just control it through that cut. I just found it a little bit tricky working like this And I think it's like anything, when you first try something or first make something, you're going to find out what you did wrong and what you did right. So really, ideally, I needed a shallower out a bit for one. That's the main thing here, what I learned. Because then I could have just dropped the route a bit, went through once, dropped the route a bit with the 2 bits of wood on top of each other and got my depth properly. So I'm just checking my depth here. And it's a really tight fit. I don't like it this tight, to be honest. So again, that's more tweaking I'll have to do with the jig. So this is the second 2 bits of wood sandwiched together. Now, because you've made the second key, you'll use the second key on this. Sacrificial strip. So that's where the key goes into. There. Just like that there. Just hold it and clamp it to the end of that wood. Push it right up against the end. And then when you go through your router, take the key out and then just use it, go right across it. And when you flip the wood, just flip it round the opposite way. Key in again at one end and just go across. And I did this in sort of multiple passes because, like I say, my router was squealing at me, taking too much wood off, all that kind of stuff. I'm learning. Kicking up a lot of dust there, and I'll get some dust extraction for this router for making some box joints. So that's another thing I learned. The amount of sort of dust this kicked up was unbelievable, really. I've got a mask on there, and underneath that mask I've got a pad underneath as well. I can't wear them sort of black masks sometimes. It just steams my glasses up. And again, I'm just going through. And then just flip it over. And there, they're done. They're not the best, as you can see. But that's the jig, that's the key. So you make 2 of them, one's fitted to the bottom. These are all the mistakes I was making and practice things I was doing, just to see what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. So don't be scared to make mistakes, because obviously I've just made them there. You can see the rough as a bear's arse, but let's be honest, it's my first one, and I'll tweak this and make it better. So let me know in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I am going to expand on this. Trust me, I'll get this bang on 100% right. I guarantee you that. Get making a jig.